Head coach Scott Frost had a brief opening statement.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Really excited to take part in this. Glad we can be back doing this again. Really excited for this season. Excited to kick off college football with our game against Illinois earlier in the year. Also really proud of the 3 young men that are here to represent us, and really excited about some of the changes that have taken place in Nebraska, in particular our new athletic director, Trev Alberts, who I've known for a long time and already had a lot of good conversation with. So couldn't be more excited to get things started.
We'll hear more from the coach coming up later in the hour. The other 7 schools in the league will meet with the media tomorrow. With NFL camp set to open soon, the league is setting forth the policy that if a team can't field a squad for a game because of a COVID outbreak, that team will forfeit and cover financial losses suffered by the opposing squad. The NFL was able to complete last season despite having outbreaks with the Tennessee Titans and the Baltimore Ravens. Checking the Major League Baseball scoreboard, the Tigers in a day game beat the Rangers 7-5. Just underway, it's Atlanta taking on Philadelphia in Philly, Tampa at Cleveland, San Diego down in Miami to take on the Marlins. Also, the Yankees and Red Sox get another series going in Boston. Cubs and Cardinals play in St. Louis again tonight. Later, it'll be the Angels in Minnesota to take on the Twins, the A's in Seattle to battle the Mariners, and the Giants and Dodgers wrap up their 4-game series in L.A. Those are tonight's headlines. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network, bringing you the best Husker sports experience.
Kubik sends a pass, made Gonzalez. It's over the net. Shut back by Stivrins. It's in. They did it. Match point, Big Red. 15-10 in the 5th. Fighting back from the abyss, down 2 sets love. Nebraska claims opening night against Ohio State. 15-10 set 5. My goodness.
Lauren Stivrins is a great leader, and Lauren was talking to those guys through when we were struggling, and she got them to change their mindset. And then I think Lexi led the way, and Nicklin, and so those are the guys that got to do that. Then it was fun to watch. We played Husker volleyball.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome our Thursday edition of Sports Nightly here on the Husker Sports Network. Hope you had a good day today. Busy day in Indianapolis for day number 1 of the Big Ten Media Days. We're going to hear from the head coach here in a little bit, get his comments that he made in the big room earlier today. We'll also later in the program hear from the commissioner. Really anxious to hear him. I don't really know how much we got out of Kevin Warren today, but we'll let you listen in on some of that. Scott Docterman of The Athletic will join us. We'll get his take on what he heard from the commissioner. He also is pretty tied into Iowa State. What are the Cyclones thinking about this possible shakeup in the Big 12 with Oklahoma and Texas? So all that coming up on the program tonight. If you want to be a part of it with a call or a text, 402-413-2400 is the number to be a part of the program. All right, your thoughts. What did you think of the head coach today?
I was impressed. I thought he handled himself very well. I think you read a text last night about don't make any headlines.
Yep.
I mean, I thought, his answers were solid on, the things that he was asked about. When you said his opening statement was short and sweet, especially compared to some of the other coaches where it was 10 minutes long, 8 minutes long, just get to the point, answer the questions. I like the messaging that he said, this is as excited as he's been about a football team that he's had since he's been in Lincoln, but got to go out and prove it. We can talk about it all we want, but just the buy-in, the chemistry, some of the things that you hope to see going into a season he's excited about, and he answered those, and I was impressed.
We don't have this one because he didn't make this in the big room, but he was asked later about the Cleveland Plain dealer poll, which came out yesterday, had Nebraska 5th in the West, and he said, that's what we deserve. That's what we've earned. We have to earn something better than that. That's a perfect answer. That's not being mad. It's not being, he said, if it adds a chip on our guy's shoulder, great, but we got to go get it done on the field.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what we were talking about before we came on the air, just fly under the radar and go punching people in the mouth and see where you end up in the end. But it's not about where you start. It's how you finish. Mm-hmm. And I think nobody on this team, seems to be thinking that they, deserve any more than going into the season, any of those, like you said, the preseason rankings or anything like that. They know that they have to go out and do it on the field, and they're working towards that. We heard Adrian say it last night about we're doing things different this summer to get a different result come the season, but all of the talk doesn't matter until you do it on the field. So, that's kind of what the messaging seems to me to be.
Preseason polls, preseason magazines don't mean squat when you kick it off. It all flips at that point in time, and so then you control the narrative from that point on. So we'll hear a lot from the head coach as we've cut up what he had to say in the big room earlier today, so we'll get to that here in just a couple of minutes. The other thing I want to hit on at the start of this, Jessica, is season ticket holders got a message earlier today from Athletic Director Trev Alberts. He talked about that he's honored to be coming back to his alma mater to be the athletic director, and that obviously we want to take care of our student athletes, and every decision we make is to be in the best interest of our student athletes. But he says, I also want you to know that we listen and want to be responsive to our fans, and to that end, Nebraska Athletics will be providing you an option to get printed tickets and parking passes for the 2021 football season. Nebraska was transitioning and is transitioning away from having printed parking passes and tickets, but a lot of people are nervous about that. I get it. I understand it. And Trev's heard you, so they're going to give people the option. If you want to have physical tickets in your hands, they're going to give you the option. Your thoughts about that?
Good for him. I mean, that's what he said. He heard the response from Husker fans, and this might not be something that everybody is completely ready for this year as we continue to make the transition. But, you look at a lot of the venues around sports, it's kind of been where it's going. And so I think continuing to move that way. And we've seen, the transfer of tickets. It makes it a lot easier when it's on a digital platform. But for now, if there's a lot of fans that were not ready for it, not happy about it, he heard you and wants to help and make that transition a little bit easier this year, going to make it available to print it off. So, yeah, I mean, I think one of his first, acts that he's done, and he's hearing what fans want and is trying to make it a little bit easier for them going into this season.
You talk about hitting the ground running. I mean, This is day 4 for him on the job, and already this comes out today. He also said, regardless of whether you choose the option of getting a printed ticket or stay with your mobile ticketing, they are going to supply all football season ticket holders a 2021 souvenir ticket. A lot of people like to have those. They like to have one ticket and say, okay, this was for this season. And a lot of people are collectors of those things. Yeah, and I mean, I saw a lot of people were kind of tweeting about they collected those throughout their childhood, and I saw one guy not from Nebraska, but just growing up as a sports fan, all the different events that he went to, collecting those tickets, putting them in a book, like like when you used to collect trading cards and sliding them into slots, that was important for people growing up as sports fans. And I guess you could still maybe screenshot and print them off as a picture. But, yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. It's been a collector's item for a lot of people. A lot of fans, and not even just here, but across the country, college football fans like to have that. So I get it. So many people were has always been so excited when your tickets arrive in the mail. There is something kind of cool about that. Yeah, for sure. And that doesn't happen in the digital world, and it's not going to happen forever. And I think we get that. But I think this is a nice transition to that. And he did say, hey, we are definitely moving toward that. Long term, we intend to make that total transition over there. But we also understand we maybe can't do it all at once. I think it's a perfect way for him to do that. He also went on to expound about that he's heard from his fans about South Stadium. South Stadium is the one part of Memorial Stadium that really hasn't been touched since it was built in the late 60s. And he said, my promise to you is that we will explore long-term options to modernize South Stadium and providing it with the same game day experiences of the fans in other parts of Memorial Stadium. He said, in the meantime, we're going to be making some modest improvements to the South Stadium, including some additional portable restrooms, added concession options, more TVs in the concourse areas. He said, I'll be communicating more information to all season ticket holders soon, but first wanted to make you aware that we are immediately jumping into this with the tickets and the amenities. South Stadium's tough. If you sit toward the top of South, I'm not telling people who sit there anything they don't know, but if you sit toward the top, you got to go all the way to the ground to go to the bathroom and then go all the way back up the stairs. It's hard. It's a really hard climb.
Yeah, so hopefully those changes come soon for those fans, and that's been a talk around since I've gotten here, that's something that is hopefully a goal in the future for sure, to continue to upgrade. And you look out here, as we've talked about, right outside our window, and just the dedication to that. We heard Scott Frost talked about staying on top of things, and the facilities, and some of the areas that Nebraska's been on top of. The facilities are a part of that you got to stay at the front edge of that to compete, to continue to compete when you're talking recruiting and bringing those recruits in. They like the flashiness of all of it. So continuing to update the stadium is of utmost importance, I think, to a lot of people around here.
I just think it's pretty cool. Trev, first week on the job, he's tuned in to what is kind of important to people, and that's not easy to do. You're first on the job, and you kind of already know a couple of hot button issues that you need to go attack.
Yeah, and I think too, just as we heard him say in his press conference that we've talked about, just he's been dedicated and locked into this program, even though he was at UNO. He still cares about this place. He's still been tuned in to what's going on here, because it means so much to him. How much being a student athlete here has meant to him. He's aware and in touch with some of those things too, even just having to come in and learn everything on the fly. He's already aware of some of these things coming into it as well, which also helps you hit the ground running.
Absolutely, it does. Mike in Kansas on our text line said, I still have my No-Sit Sunday tickets framed from Nebraska basketball. A great reminder of that night. That was a day game, actually, Mike, but you're right. That was that Wisconsin game that sealed the Huskers' last NCAA tournament berth. That's the kind of thing. People like to have those things. That and goes in their little cave in the basement of their TV room or whatever. They put those things on the wall.
I have a couple of tickets that I use as like bookmarks, reading books. That I went to a Thunder game on my birthday, and it was a really exciting game, and I kept that ticket and I use it in my nightstand, and and I have a couple in my Bible that I keep in there as marking where I'm reading. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily collect them in like frames like some people do, which is a cool souvenir, but I have kept memorable tickets as well. It's
one of those things, Jessica, where advances, technology is great, and yet you miss some of the little things, the subtlety things of having a hard ticket.
Absolutely, and I have seen the benefits of those digital tickets, especially for some of these sports that maybe don't always sell out, and transferring them. You don't always have to meet in the parking lot to hand some tickets off or put them in the mail or whatever that might be. It also might help continuing to keep stadiums full, because you can just shoot an email, or maybe there's a cause you want to donate to tickets to. I've seen a couple of places where they've had armed forces nights, where if you're not going to use your tickets to that game, hey, send them back to the athletics department. We're going to send them out and give them away to armed forces, members of the armed forces, things like that. It's a really unique way to, distribute them to continue to keep the stadiums full, but also let other people utilize them that might not otherwise have that opportunity. They go unused,
Trev was in Indianapolis today, and by all accounts, just reading some media reports, he did a great job. He kind of did a little media scrum with a lot of the Nebraska media that was in attendance today, and just kind of hit on all the right spots. And the one quote that I loved, he said, Scott Frost is going to hold me accountable, and I'm going to hold him accountable as well. But he didn't get backed into a corner about saying how many wins did he want out of Scott this year. I think Trev is proving to all of us that he's up for this job. He's up for the challenge of this job.
Absolutely. I love this text, too, that we just got in. I still have my first Husker game ticket, 1 versus 2 OU NU, when I was 7 in 2001.
The throwback throw to Crouch. Yeah, that was a great game. All right, that's what we have on the program tonight. We're going to step aside, get a break in. When we come back, we'll play you some of the head coach's comments that he made in Indianapolis today. That was at the RCA Dome, the home of the Colts. We'll get into that next.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Go where the summer leads you during the Season of Discovery sales event at Woodhouse Mazda. With a full lineup of CUVs, we are sure to have one for you. From the 2021 Mazda CX-30 to the family-friendly Mazda CX-9, our sales staff is here to help find the perfect model for you. With a suite of features, you can expect more with Mazda at a price that is good for you. Test drive one today at one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations in Bellevue or Omaha, or shop online today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Look away! A runaway train of IT problems is bearing down on our brave IT hero. But wait! It's Marco's Technology Assessment to the rescue with life-saving IT strategies. Our hero's technology issues are derailed. A tip of the hat to Marco. And our hero rides into the virtual sunset of our WebEx background. For more successful IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom!
Wow! You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
We're back here on a Thursday night, Sports Island here on the Husker Sports Network. Greg Sharpe along with Jessica Coody. I already made a mistake. It's not it's the Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
I do think it looked cool on TV. You know, we
it's
saw it
great.
with the Big 12 on the the field at Jerry World. I thought it looked great.
I like it better than Jerry's Stadium. I do. It's got a little bit more of a throwback feel to it. It's a gorgeous stadium down there in downtown Indianapolis. Some Final Fours have been held there in college basketball. All right, the head coach met with the big room at about 10:30 today. He was asked if this is the best team that he's had at Nebraska.
Without a doubt, this is the most excited I've been about our team and the most confident. Part of that's talent, part of that's just the character of the young men on our team and the culture surrounding the team. I'm excited for this season. We got to go earn whatever respect we get, and so far we haven't done enough of that, but our players are really excited to do it. We've really been focusing on the things that we needed to fix as a football team. We've had too many self-inflicted wounds, too many errors, turnovers, penalties. those types of things that have kept us from winning some close football games. Special teams is another one. And our players are really mindful of that and dedicated to that and have been through spring ball and summer. And I think they know the little things that we all need to do to get better that will help us win more football games.
I liked how when he was asked, was it your best team? He didn't say best team. He said, I'm most excited about this team. There's a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah, and he noted that a lot, the self-inflicted wounds throughout the day as well, because it's a difference between winning and losing football games. And then he was also asked about, could this help you kind of get over that hump having these players? And he said it could. We have to go do it. But, figuring out how to win those games to avoid shooting your own self in the foot is the difference between winning and losing some of these games. And when you do figure out how to win those games, it can really catapult a team.
Perfect segue into the next clip that we have. How do you flip those close games? Here's the coach.
Yeah, there's been way too many close games, and I kind of addressed that with an earlier question. But when we look back at those games, it was a mistake here, a mistake there, a turnover, a poor play on special teams, a penalty at the wrong time. The teams that win in this league don't make those mistakes. There's 14 good programs in this league, top to bottom. I think this is the strongest league. There's 14 good head coaches and 14 good coaching staffs. If you beat yourself in this league, you're not going to win. And we've had a few too many of those self-inflicted wounds, and our kids are really attentive right now to try to do the things that get that fixed. Having a veteran team and experience, I think, helps limit those mistakes. We haven't had an old team yet. This will be probably the most experienced team that we've had, so we're working together, coaching staff and players, to make sure those things don't happen.
Greg, you know what else I found interesting hearing Coach Frost talk about that today and doing some interviews with players over the last couple of months? It's a lot of that messaging that you're hearing, similar messaging coming from these players that the head coach is saying right here today to the media about, the self-inflicted wounds and the turnovers, and we got to be better ourselves. And that's what's the difference in winning and losing football games. So when you start, hearing players kind of, projecting that same message without being prompted to do so by the coaching staff, they're buying into that.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
When the coaches and the players are saying the same thing, it means they're all on the same page.
Yeah.
That to me was the key bite of his whole session in front of the big room, was right there, because that's this program in a crux right now, because until you figure out how to flip that script, you're going to have the same results. So that's what they have to be able to do. Now we'll get into a little bit of the team. He was asked about the Husker power and the strength and the conditioning of this football team, and in particular about the offensive line. Here was his response.
It's hard for me to pick one position, but Nebraska's always been known for Husker power and the offensive line. We've recruited well on the offensive line, but it's hard in this league to come in as an 18, 19-year-old and be dominant, as physical as the Big Ten is. The group that we have there right now is, I think, a group that we can build on. Coach Austin's done a great job with them. Zach Duvall's done a great job with them. I expect that to be one of our strengths this year, and looking forward to those guys playing on the field.
Then the next thing that came up was about the quarterback position and about Adrian, about to be a fourth-year starter. What kind of expectations does the coach have, and what kind of pressure is Adrian under?
I couldn't be more excited for Adrian than I am right now, Sam. I've walked in his shoes before. Adrian came in and earned the job as an 18-year-old and had a phenomenal freshman season. I think he would tell you he wasn't as satisfied with his sophomore season as he would have liked to have been. Some of that was his fault. Some of that was our fault as coaching staff and the other people around him. He's already lived the highs and lows of Nebraska football and that bright spotlight being on you. This is the most comfortable I've ever seen him in who he is, the most confident I've seen him in his talent. He knows the things that we all need to get better at, the things that he can improve. I'm expecting him to have a really big season. We play week 0. He would have been here as one of our representatives, but our players, this is their 1 week off before we get started, and he wanted to go home, and I wanted to let him. But he's in a really good place mentally and physically, and I think he's primed to have a really good year.
His teammates that were there, Austin Allen and Ben Stilley, addressed that as well, just the headspace that he's been in this whole summer and the spring and leading up to this season that it is different. And we talked a little bit about this last night when we heard the interview from Adrian, just the confidence that he has. Last year is just so tough because you kind of just got to wash it away because it was so weird with not having an off season. And he was young, and then, last year he started to become the older guy, but you're not really in the weight room. You're not going through preseason workouts. You're not really, invested in a team where you can become that leader. And now he's confident in that role, and he's in the best space that he's been in as the starting quarterback for Nebraska since he's been here. And I mean, everybody's seeing it. His teammates are seeing it, and they're believing in him.
He was great with you last night on the program, and he echoed some of those things. Kind of a theme of the whole day was about last year, you almost just have to wash it. I mean, you had a Michigan team there today that went 2-4 last year. You had a Penn State team there today that started 0-5, were the Nittany Lions, before they got their season kind of corrected and turned around. And so I think that's got to be the message, particularly when you're coming off of a year that wasn't very good. Just say, wash it. Last year was a pandemic with halts and starts and all those things. The season, just move on and go with it. Now, your favorite guy today was PJ Fleck. Row the boat. Scott Frost was asked about slogans. Do you have a slogan? Do you have a mantra that you're having your team follow? I loved his response. Here it was.
I'm not into sloganeering. If the players need me to motivate them or all the time or come up with a unique slogan to get them to play harder, I probably don't have the right players. I played for a coach at Nebraska, and Coach Osborne, that he didn't need all the sayings and slogans. He just taught us the right way to do things, and we went to work. That's what we need in our program.
I think that's the perfect answer. If you're a slogan type of guy like PJ is, fine, go with that. If you're not, don't try to force that. You can't be something you're not.
Yeah, we were joking about this, and I said to a couple people, and I've not really been a huge fan of PJ Fleck anyways. He's a little bit much for me.
He is a lot.
And, we've heard that people buy into that and that locker room, but look, there's a lot of coaches that, hey, we don't need to do that. If I got to motivate you with some kind of saying like that, then, you're probably not right for this program. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be a little much hearing the row the boat over and over again, but I like that. I like that response right there. Hey, this is how we're going to do things. And if you don't, if you're not motivated by that, then it's probably not the right spot for you.
And hey, Will Bolt had a slogan, and it worked great. It was gritty beats pretty. I mean, it works for some people, but if it's not your thing, don't do it. You've got to be true to yourself. I think that's what the coach was getting at there, and I loved it. I thought that was fantastic. All right, last year was certainly, and you referenced it a moment ago, such an odd year. And Nebraska, he was asked about getting through last season, putting up the fight to play football. So here was his response about the pandemic year of 2020.
I don't have an opinion on that, and I won't. We fought hard for football last year because we thought it was the right thing. I'm really grateful to the people that helped make it happen so that we could get a chance to play last year. Where we landed last year was a good place. I thought the season came off well with the Big Ten and was managed well. We're going to trust them to make those types of decisions.
Yeah, he was asked, the lead up to the question was, would you be in favor of forfeits if somebody can't play? And he just said, I'm not getting in that. Perfect. You don't want to touch that.
Yeah.
You don't want to be Dabo and get that news out there, laying out there for everything.
Yeah, and, that was a question that we said we were hoping to have answered, which we'll get into, that we really didn't learn much on either, so you don't know, don't answer it, and, move on from there.
Yeah, we'll hear more about that from the commissioner coming up in hour number 2. The NIL, name, image, likeness question came up with the head coach as well. Here was his response to what his thoughts are about NIL.
Going to change the landscape of college football, probably college athletics in general, but anything that benefits our student athletes, I'm really excited about. I think Nebraska is uniquely positioned to take advantage of it just because of the passion surrounding Nebraska football. We're the only show in town. We have fans all over the country, and all our eyes are on us in the state of Nebraska. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to partner with our players and help give them some advantages. I don't think we've really scratched the surface yet of where this can go at Nebraska, probably around the country. There's a lot of work that still has to be done to figure out the best ways to make NIL work for our student athletes. But I think Nebraska is uniquely positioned to do it, and our leadership's done a good job laying the groundwork so we can take advantage of it.
And a follow-up to that was he was asked, can this benefit, because Nebraska's done a good job getting ready for this, can it benefit Nebraska on the recruiting trail?
We have to wait and see. Obviously, we're going to be attentive to the rules and make sure we're doing things the right way. Everybody's subject to their state legislation, and one of the ones in Nebraska is that as a employee of the university, we can't go out and get deals for anyone. So a lot of these things are going to happen away from our control. That being said, I know there's a lot of excitement around Nebraska because I've heard it, and I think a lot of those things will happen organically, and inevitably that'll the news of that will get to recruits and I think help us a long way down the road.
I thought it was interesting hearing all the coaches. Pretty much every one of them was asked about NIL and how this benefits their program, and almost all of them said, oh, we're set up well for this, or, oh, we feel like we're in a good place for this. But really, as we've seen and leading up to July 1st, throughout all of this, nobody was prepared and went through this like Nebraska was. They're the only show in town. I really do think the proof is kind of in the pudding. And like you said, we'll see how it plays into recruiting moving forward. But initially, it's just kind of funny to hear everybody thought that it's a big selling point right now, right? That the coaches are using, and everybody felt like, hey, we've got a good place for NIL. But absolutely, I think it's hard to compete with what Nebraska has set up with, all the education and the tools in place here, but then also the only show in town and the fan base here and how much they've bought into their players. It's legit. We heard it say there, but we've heard that message since I've gotten here to Lincoln, how big of an area this is for NIL and for the athletes here and for recruits.
Every coach except Mike Loxley got asked about it. The poor Maryland coach, to sidebar here, he gets up. Every coach gets 15 minutes in the big room, and he probably talked for 9 or 10, just kind of setting up the offseason and his team, and then they go, questions? There were none.
Did you want to hop on the Zoom and call and ask a question?
I felt bad for him, so somebody could have thrown him that one at least out there. All right, Trev Alberts was a big topic of the day. The head coach got asked about what does it mean to have a former Husker football player now as his boss. Here was the response.
I was really excited when they hired Trev Alberts. I didn't have anything to do with the process. I think the coaches at the University of Nebraska, not just the football program, but the other coaches, were really excited to have somebody else that might understand Nebraska, understand the unique assets and opportunities in Nebraska, and also the challenges in Nebraska. Nebraska is a special place, and it's unique. I think we hired a guy that understands that's worn the uniform, that's been there. We all wanted somebody that understood Nebraska and could come alongside the coaches that are already in place and help us to succeed to the highest level possible. I couldn't be more excited than to have Trev. Kept in touch with him over the years. I've already met with him 4 times, including once before he even started the job. So I know he and I are on the same page with a lot of the things that we want to do to try to help build this program and build the Nebraska Athletic Department.
Trev's been the 8 days. He's already met 4 times. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and he was the star of the show at Big Ten Media Days, which, again, another thing that we've talked a lot about, how polished he is, his TV background, how important that is, and how he conveys his messaging. It's big when you're standing up there and representing the university. But, Scott was asked about that a few times about Trev, and it was kind of similar messaging about he understands us and what it takes to get us where we want to go. Right. And that's so important for a head football coach and an AD to understand that and be on the same wavelength.
Got to be lockstep. You can't the messaging has to be consistent, and I think it will be with these two. He drove to Indy. Trev drove to Indy.
It's crazy.
He wasn't even on the plane with Coach Frost today to fly back there. So pretty impressive stuff. All right, we'll bring it back to football to wrap up the session. Week 0 game with Illinois, conference game. The coach was asked about starting the season with a conference opener.
I'm ready to get the season started. We've been dealing with a lot of off-season things. I think our players are excited. It extends the year by a week, which is a challenge, but it also gives us 2 bye weeks in the middle of the season. It's a conference game on the road, which is always tough in this league. We're playing against a team with a new coach and Coach Bielema. So we're going to be doing a little bit of guesswork on some of the schemes and things we'll see. But we're going to do our best to get the players ready. And this group of guys right now is a group that I'm more excited about than any group that I've worked with since I've been at Nebraska. So we're going to band together and do everything we can to get ready for that game.
Boy, you look at how many conference games are right out of the gate. This is a bit of a trend. I kind of like it. It's a lot of pressure, though, because these conference games mean more than a non-conference game. But across the league, I mean, Penn State opens with Wisconsin. Ohio State goes to Minnesota. Indiana and Iowa play. Nebraska and Illinois. I kind of like it. It's going to ratchet up August.
Yeah, and both camps, both the Illinois camps and Nebraska camps today were talking when they were asked about this game. They understand how important it is to win this game. It's big for both programs. They both know how necessary it is to win this game and propel a team forward, but then also those league games count. But that did seem to be a big message by the Big Ten Conference of, hey, we're kicking off college football. All eyes are going to be on this game, which seems to be also embraced by both programs as well.
Giant game. This was the one that was supposed to be in Ireland, but obviously with the COVID thing, Ireland got pushed back a year, and it'll be Northwestern will be the opponent over there for Nebraska. On our text line, why would Frost say he was a part of the hiring process? I hope not. That's not how this works. He said he wasn't.
Right.
He said he wasn't a part of the hiring process. The only current head coach that was a part of that on the committee was Amy Williams, women's basketball coach. So he clearly said he was not part of the process for that. All right, those are the main comments from the head coach from today. Thoughts about that? 402-413-2400. If you want to dial us up on our Sports Nightly hotline, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. We'll take your thoughts on the Woodhouse Auto Family hotline or through the text line. We're back with more next.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com. Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. Husker fans, stay up to date with the most current and latest news by following the Big Red on Facebook and Twitter. These social media homes provide the fastest daily updates on everything surrounding NU athletics, including game results, ticket promotions, and Husker prizes. Log on to also follow several sports-specific pages and Husker head coaches. Become a fan today at facebook.com/Huskers and twitter.com/Huskers to join and interact with thousands of Husker fans around the world.
Did you ever buy something and get more than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it, the confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom!
Wow! You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. A new grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is supporting Husker research in the study of multi-robot systems in ag settings. The almost $500,000 grant was awarded through the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture to Professor Santosh Pitla. Pitla and his team will use the funds to further their research in the use of unmanned ground vehicles and drones on the farm.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Hey, buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Greg Sharpe Jessica Coody with you here on a Thursday night. You want to be a part of this one with a call or a text, 402-413-2400. Let's get to the phone. Let's go to West Point. And Pete, good evening, Pete. Welcome to the program.
How you doing today?
Good, thanks.
I guess in my opinion, the talk is all good, but we've heard it so many times. It's more show me, don't tell me. And if we start having the best practices we've ever had, I'm going to get really worried. So I think this team, I think the coaches have got to go back and understand what wins football games. We need to run the ball and stop the run to begin with, because our quarterback is not a good enough passer to open up the running game with passing. It needs to be the running game, open up the passing game, and you need to stop the run on defense. And I think this coaching staff has learned quite a bit in the last 3 years, and I think we're going to maybe this year see that kind of turned around.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I also think it will help if Adrian's not the leading rusher. I mean, I think that's been an issue. The running game last year, when it worked, it was because Adrian was taking off and getting yards, and then he's susceptible to hits. Hopefully there's somebody emerges out of that running back room that can take some heat off of Adrian's legs and that he can settle in. But I'll disagree a little bit with you that he's not a good enough passer. I think he completed like 71% of his passes last year. That's a really high percentage.
I think he set like some kind of record in the last game of the season. So
yeah.
I thought that was another interesting comment from Coach Frost on set that he made with the Big Ten Network guys, asking about the running backs. And because we've heard Coach Held talk about he's got some guys he's really excited about, and there's a bunch of them, and the competition's going to be very heated in fall camp. But it is not, they do not want a running back by committee type of deal. They want one or two guys to emerge. They want to know who the number one guy is and who the number two guy is. But I think they feel like they've got some guys in that room that they're going to be able to rely on to do some big things in the running game.
Yeah. Art in Los Angeles on our text line said, if COVID problems cause a team to postpone, will they replay the game later in the season, or will those games be canceled? That's Art again. The commissioner really didn't shed any light on that topic today. I knew it would come up. It did. He really he avoided it.
I thought that was kind of disappointing because as we saw in SEC Media Days, they had a plan. They knew, we don't know, you're going to forfeit, or we're not making these games up. And I wish that we would have gone into this, we would have left today knowing what the stance of the Big Ten Conference was regarding COVID protocols and what's going to happen in this situation. But we don't know as of today.
We don't. We're going to hear some clips from the commissioner in the next hour. I was kind of disappointed in his comments, to be honest with you, but we'll play a few of them, and you all can make the determination yourself. Mark says, hey, Osborne's first national championship team did have a slogan, unfinished business. That is true. The 94 team did have that in there. But again, I don't think you can, if you aren't comfortable with that and that's not your style, you can't do that. You can't. Not everybody can be PJ Fleck. You got to do what you feel is right for what you want.
And I also think it's different how PJ Fleck, promotes his slogan as opposed to, like, say, Will Bolt, like you were talking about, promotes their slogan. It's, with a guy like PJ Fleck, it's kind of in your face. But a lot of times if a team has a slogan, it's internal. And if it gets out, that's fine. But it's not like we're trying to get everybody to buy into it. It's, it's different for teams. And like you said, it's for some coaches it works, for some it doesn't. And it's also different in how they promote that message as well.
Absolutely. 402-413-2400. If you want to dot us up with a comment or question or fire off a text. What's the latest with the Oklahoma-Texas thing? The current chancellors and presidents of the Big 12 just wrapped up a teleconference of their own. We'll give you some information that is leaked out from that, not necessarily leaked out. Some of them, including Texas Tech's chancellor, has already posted something on social media. We'll dive into that next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom!
Wow! You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
We're back, Sports Nightly, here on a Thursday night. You want to be a part of the last segment of the program here. The number's 402-413-2400 with a call or a text. The remaining members of the Big 12 Conference, the other 8 minus OU and Texas, their presidents and chancellors had a 5 o'clock conference call. And Jessica, we're already getting reaction. Texas Tech's chancellor has already put out a statement.
Yes. So there were all 10 teams were invited to participate in the Zoom teleconference, and Texas and Oklahoma chose not to participate. And so from Ted Mitchell, the chancellor at Texas Tech, he said, like many across our state and within the footprint of our league, I've been extremely disappointed by the actions and intentions of our friends in Austin and Norman. From day one of the Big 12 Conference's existence, Texas Tech has been a proud and trustworthy partner. As the landscape of college athletics shifts, I can promise Red Raider Nation that our leadership will diligently pursue all options to best position Texas Tech for long-term success. But disappointed in their friends in Austin and Norman.
He's the first to respond. I bet there's more coming.
Oh, yes.
We'll keep our eye and see if we hear from Iowa State, from Kansas State, from Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's got to be chapped a little bit, too. I mean, they're an in-state. I mean, Bedlam is one of the great rivalries in the country. I can't imagine the folks in Stillwater are very happy right now.
Yeah, and, since the whole conference realignment, they have a new athletic director and a new president. So they're brand new in this deal. And there are no legislation ties to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State like there were in the past. A lot of talk has been, well, could there be a deal in place where Oklahoma and Oklahoma State play in the preseason, a non-conference matchup before conference play. Maybe you sign a deal where that continues to be a matchup every year. But, I think probably they're panicking a little bit.
This deal's done, don't you think?
I think it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how quickly this train was moving. And A lot of it seems to be the conversations have been ongoing for quite some time, and had Texas A&M, allegedly not leaked out this information, who knows? It might have just been a done deal. We might have just woke up one day and it was a done deal.
Boom. Press
like,
conference.
hey, this is happening.
Press conference in Hoover, Alabama, or wherever the SEC headquarters are. The Big 12's TV rights deal goes through 2025. So here we are, 2021. That's 4 years out. We'll be 3 years out after this year gets over. There is a pretty significant penalty for early departure, but there's going to have to be an early departure. You can't hold these people's feet to the fire for that long of a stretch. This thing's going to have to flip. I would guess it's next year. I would guess next August, those two teams are members of the SEC.
Yeah, as we heard Ryan Aber talking about last night with the Oklahoma, and there's you have to give 18 months notice, but it sounds like I also saw something where, Sankey was saying we're only going to talk about 2021, which probably means this might be moving forward very quickly, like 2022 or 2023. 2023 seems to be a big year that people are kind of keying in on, that could very well be the year that all this takes place.
On our text line, Lloyd and Adam says, if they do jump, what do you think of the chances of the Big Ten bringing K-State and Iowa State in? I don't see that, Lloyd. I really don't. I think that there's been early rumblings from the other 8 members of the Big 12 that they're going to quickly try to go save their league and go get 3 or 4 others to come and get their league at least to 12. So I think there's a lot of moving parts. The next 30 days will be really wild with that.
Yeah, and again, when we went through all this the first time, a lot of speculation, but I've seen going after, the top teams in the AAC. So Cincinnati, UCF, USF, Houston. I've also seen, hey, we're going to go talk to Arizona State, maybe try to get Colorado to come back.
Right.
But one of the other things that have come out, that the chancellor or the former chancellor at Texas A&M said that there's like a gentleman's agreement that you don't have to welcome in somebody from your state if, they could block it or whatever. So Texas A&M saying that, hey, you got to have our back. We don't want Texas in this deal. But if Iowa, what's the deal with that? If Iowa doesn't want Iowa State, is there a similar kind of deal that Iowa could block this Iowa State potentially coming to the Big Ten?
We've got Scott Docterman from The Athletic coming on next hour. He covers both of those programs. We'll get his take on what's the dynamics between the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones. I've long thought the Arizona schools were ripe for plucking. The Pac-12 has not done very well with their network. They have fallen way behind financially. I think the Big 12 could pluck ASU and Arizona, and that gets you into the Phoenix area, which is a growing metropolis out there. Can really help you recruiting-wise. And from Lubbock to Arizona is not far at all. It's just a little bit of a jump. Certainly from West Virginia to Arizona is your cross-country flights, but a lot of moving parts. This thing is now engaged, and I'm with you. I think the absence and the not showing up to the party by OU and Texas today means they're wiping their hands. They're done.
Yeah, no doubt. And who knows what Texas A&M is doing behind the scenes to get people to get on their side about blocking this thing happening. But if the money's there, teams are going to have a hard time saying no.
They're not going to win that
If
battle.
money's coming in like crazy, if OU and Texas join this league.
Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. 1 hour in the books. Next hour, we'll play you some of the clips from the commissioner. You won't want to, well, you might want to miss it. And we'll hear from Scott Docterman of The Athletic. All that coming up in hour 2.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. With a combination of strong academics and affordability, UNL offers an excellent educational value. This year, the university was named one of the Princeton Review's best value colleges. And the new Nebraska Promise and Career Scholarship programs are connecting more hardworking Huskers with financial help so they can pursue their dreams.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Nebraska Athletics are hiring event staff for the 2021 home football season. Our #1 requirement, be passionate about Husker football and ready to provide the ultimate fan experience for the greatest fans in college football. As part of the event staff, you serve Husker Nation and check out live game action inside Memorial Stadium. Apply right now and help kick off the Husker football season by working the Garth Brooks concert. For more information and to apply, visit Huskers.com/event staff. Go Big Red.
Good evening, I'm Greg Sharpe, and here are tonight's sports ticker headlines. Day one of the Big Ten Media Days in the books. The Huskers were one of 7 schools on hand today. Head coach Scott Frost had a brief opening statement.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here. Really excited to take part in this. Glad we can be back doing this again. Really excited for this season. Excited to kick off college football with our game against Illinois earlier in the year. Also really proud of the 3 young men that are here to represent us, and really excited about some of the changes that have taken place in Nebraska, in particular our new athletic director, Trev Alberts, who I've known for a long time and already had a lot of good conversation with. So couldn't be more excited to get things started.
The other 7 schools in the league will meet with the media in Indianapolis tomorrow. With NFL camp set to open soon, the league is setting forth the policy that if a team can't field a squad for a game because of a COVID outbreak, that team's going to forfeit and cover financial losses suffered by the opposing squad. The NFL was able to complete last season despite breakouts with Tennessee and Baltimore. Major League Baseball scores. Detroit beat Texas this afternoon, 7-5. Games underway. The Braves all over the Phillies 5-0 in the third. No score Tampa and Cleveland there in the third inning. Also in the third, the Padres have jumped ahead of the Marlins 1-0. No score in Boston at Fenway between the Yankees and the Red Sox there in the bottom of the third. The Cardinals have an early 1-0 advantage on the Cubs. Third inning about to get underway. The Angels in Minneapolis to take on the Twins. The A's in Seattle to battle the Mariners later tonight, and the Dodgers and Giants square off in L.A. as well. Those are tonight's headlines. I'm Greg Sharpe.
Live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly on the Huskers Radio Network, bringing you the best Husker sports experience.
Kubik sends a pass, made Gonzalez. It's over the net. Shut back by Stivrins. It's in. They did it. Match point, Big Red. 15-10 in the 5th. Fighting back from the abyss, down 2 sets love. Nebraska claims opening night against Ohio State. 15-10 set 5. My goodness.
Lauren Stivrins is a great leader, and Lauren was talking to those guys through when we were struggling, and she got them to change their mindset. And then I think Lexi led the way, and Nicklin, and so those are the guys that got to do that. Then it was fun to watch. We played Husker volleyball.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Thank you. Welcome. Final hour of the night here on Sports Nightly on a Thursday night. Big day in Indianapolis with day one of the media days. The Huskers were there along with Illinois, Minnesota, Michigan, Penn State, Maryland, all made their appearances today. The other 7 schools will be up tomorrow, so we'll have some more reaction from that tomorrow. Coming up this hour, we're going to hear what the commissioner had to say today. In some people's eyes, not a lot, but we'll get to what Kevin Warren had to say. His first really big stage appearance, because he took over in January of 20, and then COVID hit, so last year's media days didn't happen. And that's usually the biggest stage for the commissioner to be up on. So we'll play a couple clips from him here in a few minutes. And we'll go to Indianapolis. Scott Docterman of The Athletic has been there covering the event today. He covers Iowa and also a little bit of Iowa State. We'll get his thoughts about what the commissioner had to say today and any other things that he picked up on. And what's going through Iowa State's mind with this big shakeup happening in the Big 12 with apparently OU and Texas off to the SEC. Kevin Warren, here we go. He was asked right out of when he got to the point of taking questions today, Jessica, he was asked about the earth-shattering news that came down yesterday about the 2 schools in the Big 12 looking to be bolting to the SEC. What does that do for him and the future of the Big 10?
I think what we have seen, as I talked about in my comments, we're at an inflection point in college athletics. So whether it's name, image, and likeness, whether it's the Austin case, whether it's potential college football playoff expansion, whether it's schools from one conference joining another conference, these are the kind of issues that we all will be dealing with here this year and for many years in the future. And so, again, it's that's the world that we live in right now. And I know from where we sit, we're always constantly evaluating what's in the best interest of the conference. It'll be interesting to see how that story that you mentioned yesterday, how that evolves and where it lands. but I think that reiterates of where we are in college athletics, and that's why I'm so grateful that Barry Alvarez has decided to join us, because these are all the kind of things that just collectively that we as a conference will be able to kind of talk to and think through and consult with our director of athletics and our chancellors and presidents and our many individuals on our campus.
It's interesting that he mentioned Barry Alvarez, the former Husker, former Wisconsin football coach and AD, who now is a football advisor for the league. He may be a pretty important guy for Kevin Warren to lean on in the coming months.
Yeah, and all that answer, and we didn't learn anything about what his stance is on it. You know, I mean, you're watching Greg Sankey and how aggressive he was at his media days and taking questions and answering the questions that were posed to him. And I didn't really learn anything from that. And at a time when this is inevitable, it seems like, you think you want to be a little bit aggressive on the messaging that you want to put out there about getting, if you want teams to join the league, hey, we're going to get the best teams, or, you know, whatever that stance might be. But seeing, gathering information, that didn't really tell me much, you know.
He did get pressed on it, so here's part two. Let's see if he did any better here.
One of the things I'm most excited about, and although we're still dealing with issues of COVID-19 or variants, is to be able to get back to the work of college athletics. So all those items that you raised, from scheduling to divisions to college football expansion, all those different things, you know, they one thing impacts another. It all impacts each other. So this fall, I've already started this summer of having these conversations within our internal Big Ten family in regards to their viewpoints from college football expansion, gathering information, as they called it, kind of these next couple months to really gather, you know, information to decide what we feel is in the best interest. So I am really energized and excited. That's why I came here, is to do everything we can to make this the best conference in college athletics, empower our student athletes, and deal with issues like you're addressing. So I'm excited to work with our staff and Coach Alvarez and others to make sure that we're very methodical and thoughtful as we unpack those issues.
Jessica, this was obviously more about the playoff expanding to 12, but he's known this day was coming where he was going to be in front of this group. And maybe I just wanted more. I wanted more of what he's thinking. What's the league's thought on going to 12 teams? Are we for that or not?
Because that was something that we knew was going to be asked about. That's been a conversation that has been going on. We've known that this has been something that's being pushed for a couple of months now. So you knew that was going to be a question. What does the Big Ten, what do they want to do? How is this going to benefit them? Why are they pushing for the Big 12 or the 12-team playoff? Why are they not pushing for it? Do we want to go to 8? What is the stance on it? What is going to be best for the 12 teams in this league? You've got to think that surely conversations have been had with coaches around the league, with athletic directors around the league. Why is this good for the Big Ten? Why is this not good for the Big Ten? What is our stance on it? Because I don't know as of today.
It didn't come out in that answer, did it, at all?
I mean, so I don't know.
All right, I'll try it again. One more time. He got asked about COVID and what kind of, or what's the stance for the league as it relates to COVID going into this fall? What bumpers are going to be put up for teams to let? Here was his response.
On June 6th of 2021, during our semi-annual meeting with our chancellors and presidents, it was voted for us to be able to create a decentralized process and procedure this year of handling COVID-19. So we have allowed our institutions to handle those issues. One of the things that we're working on right now, Bill, is the fact that our schools are finalizing their proposed policies and procedures for the fall. We'll get that information in early August. We'll combine it, and then we'll get together with our chancellors and presidents and other key constituents to make the determination as far as how we handle the fall. I mean, one of the things I did learn last year is to make sure that we are methodical and thoughtful, that we bring people together. And so we're right where we want it to be, is that it will be a decentralized decision-making process. As soon as we gather all the information from our schools in early August, we'll finalize our policies to make sure that we pressure test it as much as we possibly can, and then we'll make sure we release it to everyone in the media and in the public. But we will have that done prior to our first game, 37 days away from.
37 days away, and we do not have an answer on what the policy would be for COVID protocols. And if a team cannot play, if they cannot put a team on the field, what's going to happen? We don't know. And literally, kickoff is in 5 weeks. How do we not have an answer for that?
You're going to let every school come up with their own policy.
And you know they won't be the same.
Oh, no way. No, not. And then we'll compile it together. That's asking for a train wreck, isn't it?
And is there a deadline on when schools have to have what their policies are? Because again,
Shouldn't
we're
that have
quickly
come and gone?
approaching. Yeah, so
Shouldn't that have been July 1, maybe?
Yeah.
That's when that deadline should have hit.
So if you're asking schools and programs to come up with their own policy and then we're going to formulate one big one, you'd hope that that's already been done and that, maybe it would be quickly approaching. You knew when Big Ten Media Days are going to be. You'd think this would be a good time to release what that policy would be, right? We were hoping that would be something we would learn today.
Bob just texted me and said the commissioner would be a better politician than a commissioner because he answers questions with a lot of hot air and at the end never answers the questions. Go Big Red.
Someone else texted on, Jessica, welcome into the Big Ten. We don't know. Commissioner Warren doesn't tell us much.
Yeah. So there you go. Wow. Somebody said, I'm just going to one from Wyatt now. Says, that's nice word salad, Kevin. It's kind of right. Yeah. I mean, oh boy. All right, so there you go. Also, we've been reading our text, but we're also our YouTube. All the 2 hours of Sports Alley every night you can watch on YouTube. We've got a little chat room in there. There's some traffic in there. What do you got?
Yes, I had it pulled up. So, yeah, every night, if you want to watch us, we've got a live stream going on. There's been quite a few people in the chat that have been posting some questions and just commenting on things. And one of them from Chad said, is the USC running back transfer really as good as the hype? So Marquise Stepp, I think he's definitely one of those guys I expect to be in that heated competition that we talked about.
Yeah, he's been hurt, got hurt early in spring practice, and he's getting close. Scott Frost was asked that today and did say that he may be on a pitch count early in camp, but they think he'll be ready to go for the season starting. So I'm glad they brought up Marquise.
And then Crypto King is a big fan. He's had a lot of comments. He loves the show, and he says that he thinks Nebraska will do very well this year, that NIL will play a big part in that. So, again, but as Scott said, the effects of NIL we probably won't see in recruiting-wise for a couple of years. That'll continue to be something. But it's definitely a selling point that all the coaches, we've heard them talk about how beneficial it can be, the Nebraska, the area, the fan base, being the only show in town, that, it definitely could be a huge selling point in terms of NIL. So, but as far as those recruits moving in, that just took place July 1st. So we won't know, the effects of how that, affects recruiting, and not for a couple of classes, you wouldn't think.
Very good. So those of you in the YouTube chat room, we see you. We got you.
Thanks for watching.
Yes, thanks for watching. Thanks for jumping in there. Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. It's a Sports Nightly Thursday night. When we come back, Scott Docterman of The Athletic will join us from Indianapolis. We'll get his take on what he heard from the commissioner earlier today. That's coming up next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Touchdown, Nebraska! If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom! Wow!
You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Did you ever buy something and get more? More than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it. The confidence of flashing a beautiful smile. The relief that your family can keep living the life they love. The serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Stay up to date with the most current and latest news by following the Huskers on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and more. These social media homes provide the fastest daily updates on everything surrounding Nebraska athletics, including game times, results, ticket promotions, prize giveaways, and more. Log on to also follow several sport-specific pages and Husker head coaches. Join today and interact with thousands of Husker fans around the world. Visit huskers.com/social media to see all of our accounts.
Welcome back, Sports Nightly here on a Thursday night. Greg Sharpe Jessica Coody with you, and let's go to Indianapolis. Good friend of the program, Scott Docterman, joining us there. Scott, I appreciate you stepping away from St. Elmo's to talk to us for a few minutes here tonight.
Yeah, I can't afford St. Elmo's, so I'm in the hotel bar. But no, it's been great here and enjoying some great company. It's been nice to see some of these faces I haven't seen for a couple of years.
See, I thought you'd at least step in there and get you that shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, that thing's on fire. I probably should, but at this point, I'm just enjoying a nice burger. It's been a while for that one, too.
Good for you. Scott, we just were playing some clips from the commissioner's address today. How did he do in your eyes?
I think he tried to convey a message, and I think he wanted to show what he's about, but I don't know that it met the moment. I think in some ways he wanted to describe all the initiatives, and they're all worthy that the Big Ten is showing, but I think in some ways right now it's about football, and I think there's a sense of urgency in light of what is transpiring with Texas and Oklahoma, that I think right now there's kind of an importance on what the Big Ten's response is going to be. All of these issues, what are you planning to do, not necessarily the initiatives you plan to start. So I don't think he met the moment.
He just didn't have specifics. Well, where is the Big Ten on playoff expansion? Are they for it? The COVID response, it's like we're 37 days away from Nebraska and Illinois playing, and they don't really have a policy. I think your description of not meeting the moment's pretty good. Where do you think they come down on playoff expansion? You're around the Iowa folks. Are they for this? What do you think the prevailing feeling about that is around the league?
I think most people are if they're not for it. I think they're okay with it. It's just a matter of, nailing down the specifics. I think if there's one issue that I've heard kind of either from coaches or, specifically coaches about this topic, it has to deal with the number of games. And if you're like a number 5 or 6 seed and you somehow win your way to the championship, I mean, you're talking about potentially a 17-game season. So, Kirk Ferentz, I've talked to him about that before, and he said, look, I think players would be okay with it. It would just take a lot of changes on our part as coaches to ensure that they're healthy enough to continue to play. But that is asking a lot. So I think that's probably a big question. But as far as the playoff, I think everybody's kind of moved on. I don't know why that they're dragging their feet on this. I mean, the Big Ten has been known, at least under the Delaney years, as being a leader. And I will dare say that over the last 18 months, it has been more reactionary than visionary, unlike the previous 30 years.
If an 18 thing had been in effect in 16, Iowa's in, right? I mean, that undefeated run that they had, they definitely would have made a playoff.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, over Kirk Ferentz's career, they might have made it, 3 times, I think it was, that they would have been in, maybe 4. So, and I asked James Franklin about that today, simply because in 4 of the last 5 years, they would have been in, and they've had 0 playoff appearances. So I think there's some, heavy interest. I think that's probably where the sport is going. I think there's some overall good feelings about the bowls that they don't want to completely throw away. But I think in some respects, the fans have already gotten past the bowls. The only one that really matters is, Big Ten guys like myself that care about the Rose Bowl, but that's the optics more than it is the game. So I think right now everybody's kind of moved into that. It's just a matter of how they logistically make it happen.
Again, visiting with Scott Docterman of The Athletic here on Sports Nightly. All right, how much buzz on the floor was there today about this Oklahoma-Texas story to the SEC?
There was quite a bit, and I was able to grab Barry Alvarez, and, he without getting too deep into it, he said, look, well, they haven't really issued any statements against it, so apparently there's something there. And I think that's kind of everybody's discussing it, but it came seemingly out of nowhere, kind of like 11 years ago at the Millennium Hotel in Kansas City, where Orange Bloods reports 6 teams potentially going to the Big Pac-12. So that to me it's probably in the same realm, but I do think there's a heightened awareness with the Big Ten that if it wants to keep pace with the SEC, it's going to have to answer in some respect. And I don't know that there are any schools out there that could really become a counterweight to those two, but they're going to have to figure out something, and at least even if they stand pat, they're going to have to announce why. Because right now you can't just be, mealy-mouthed there and go, well, we're looking at everything. At some point you're going to have to be aggressive. And certainly Jim Delaney was, and this administration is not that way.
Scott, well, you certainly have some ties at that Iowa State program. What do you think the talk has been today in Ames? Is that they try to pick the pieces up of this news that dropped yesterday? What are you hearing?
Yeah, there's some real concern from what I've gathered, and I haven't had a chance to talk very closely with them, but I know people around the program are very concerned because this is something that's kind of it pulls the plug on the Big 12 as a major entity when you lose their 2 flagship programs, and all the attrition over the last 10 years has done so much damage to the brand of the Big 12. But you got a team like Iowa State and occasionally Kansas State and Kansas certainly in basketball that are doing well, but they're not standalone entities. They're not entities that could name their place. They can't just say, well, we'll just go to the Big Ten or something. I mean, that's just not the case. So I think that there's a lot of concern, just like there was 10 years ago when they felt like they were going to be left out. But back then there was at least an option with the Big East. That option doesn't exist today. So I think there's a lot of concern on the schools that would be left behind if Oklahoma and Texas ultimately do leave.
What would Iowa State, well, I'm sure they would love to be in the Big Ten. What would Iowa's stands be toward them becoming a Big Ten member?
I would only be speculating because I have not spoken to them because they actually talk tomorrow. But I would say that I can't see Iowa being that much in favor of Iowa State joining the Big Ten. And I don't know what Iowa State would bring from. I don't mean to be negative towards Iowa State. I mean, they're obviously a quality school, great program now with Matt Campbell, an AAU member. So they bring a lot of good things to the table, but I don't think Iowa would like to have to share the Big Ten in its footprint with Iowa State. And I don't know that Iowa State brings anything extra with it. You know, it doesn't bring the Des Moines market. Iowa already has it, and not like Des Moines market matters that much. So I think there would be some resistance from Eastern Iowa regarding Iowa State.
Well, you mentioned Kansas briefly. Would their basketball footprint be enough to be attractive to the Big Ten in your view?
Oh, and I would say if Kansas was the second team added, yes. But that would have to be an Oklahoma, a Texas, a Notre Dame, a USC or something like that. I'm just throwing that out there. But, it would have to be the second team. It could not be that football program is atrocious. And it's had its moments under Mark Mangino, but there were very, very few. And let's face it, this is all football related. Football is the driver, and you've got to make sure that you have a good football program and one that is universally accepted as such. And Kansas is not anywhere near that. And then, like, Kansas State doesn't bring enough to the table that KU would.
Again, visiting with Scott Docterman of The Athletic here on Sports 90. All right, what else stood out to you today in day one of the media days in Indy? What storylines grabbed your attention?
Yeah, I think in some ways it was just the fact that everybody's back. I mean, it's a little different vibe having it inside the stadium here. I mean, it was nice to be able to hear from some of the coaches. I was pretty locked in on the Big Ten, how the Big Ten reacts to what happened with Texas and Oklahoma. But, it was just interesting to see people close to up front. I really liked listening to Brett Bielema. I always did, whether he was at Wisconsin or wherever. But, he just seems to have maybe a different level of self-awareness based on, what transpired at Arkansas. Not as much bravado, but he was fairly introspective. And, he had a lot of really interesting things to say. And he's certainly going to be a better player for in-state talent in Illinois, which is going to be a major factor because that's where Iowa gets, a lot of its recruits.
And he has a Tiger Hawk tattoo, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. He was a former Iowa team captain.
Yeah.
And he was a very braggadocio, I mean, he was he had a lot of incidents in Iowa, including, calling the former Iowa State coach Jim Walden a bad name and had to write a letter of apology for it at the time. So, yeah, that certainly fit his persona and personality 30 years ago. And Iowa fans and Iowa coaches even will tell recruits, hey, just ask Brett, what's that on your calf? And he brings it up all the time.
I did not know that about the Walden story. I had never heard that.
Yeah, it's pretty legendary. After they beat him in his senior year, he's like, it's been fun kicking your up for the last 5 years ago, you whatever. And so Hayden Fry made him apologize and write a letter of apology. And it was Brett was pretty intense as a player, which, he was a walk-on and nose guard that weighed about 190 pounds and ended up, being a team captain and a very important member of that organization, for a long time.
Scott, we have BTN on in our studio right now, and they're replaying the press conferences from earlier today. Jim Harbaugh just took the podium. What'd you make of him today? He seemed to say a lot and he said to talk a lot but didn't say much. What'd you think?
Yeah, a little bit more subdued, Jim Harbaugh. I mean, you always wonder, what are you going to get with him? What kind of character is he going to play today? And, part of it was, he was in a suit. He was sitting up there. He didn't have his Michigan hat on, so he was taking seemingly a little bit more seriously. And then, but I thought, his response, I think the question was about Ohio State and winning a Big Ten. And he's like, hey, that's what we're here for. We're going to die trying to win. And I think that was, that's an important message because, Michigan, you're judged by two things and two things only: beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten. And he's done neither. and you're a failure if you don't win either one of them. And so right now that's where he sits, and so I think that was kind of an interesting message, but he wasn't. It was just a little bit more subdued atmosphere, I would say, than normal.
Yep, no doubt. Well, hey, Scott, we appreciate it pulling you away from dinner. Get back to dinner. Have a great time tomorrow. Enjoy day 2. I know you'll be really busy tomorrow with the Hawkeyes coming through there tomorrow.
All right. Thanks for having me on, Greg. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. Scott Document of The Athletic joining us on our Sports Nightly Hotline. Brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. So there you go, Jessica. I had a feeling that if Iowa State tries to make a play, I think Iowa would block them. I don't think that they would let them jump in there.
Yeah, and it was interesting hearing what he said about it's not necessarily that Iowa State's not a good program, but they're not bringing as much to the table because they're not bringing in any more eyeballs with the TV market, which is also big in this deal too, is how else are you going to bring in, the ratings and the markets and finding a team that fits that perspective of it as well.
I just, the Big Ten may be forced to do something. If you can't get Notre Dame, and I think Notre Dame's got some contractual language with the ACC that I think might prevent that from. I just don't know where you go to make any kind of wave that is comparable at all to what the SEC is doing with Texas and Oklahoma.
Well, I just actually was going to bring that up because Brett McMurphy of Stadium said that a source told Stadium that some of the people in the call tonight wanted to know what the motivations were for Texas and OU. Is it financial or other issues? But the source added that it's not 100% that they're gone. And then someone had responded to, Notre Dame will probably finally commit to the Big Ten. And he responded, Notre Dame cannot join Big Ten contractually tied to the ACC. If it joins a league in the next 15 years, it has to be the ACC.
Yeah.
So, and another thing that was brought up today in regards to the ACC is that deal that they just signed with the streaming rights and the linear rights with the ACC network. It's like 2032 or something. It is like crazy in the future with them. So the ACC is kind of
locked down
and tied up, and they're in a bad spot when it comes to trying to negotiate deals moving forward.
So if you're Kevin Warren, Barry Alvarez, where do you?
So you can't go to the ACC.
You can't go pluck a Syracuse or a Virginia or somebody like that. You can't do it
unless you're going to buy them out of their contract, which is, I guess, crazy ridiculous.
Notre Dame might be worth it, maybe, but I just don't think Notre Dame wants to go down that path.
Notre Dame is not going to make a move until they absolutely have to. If it is moving to super leagues and they cannot fill their schedule, but right now, and especially with the 12-team playoff, as we've talked about, there is no incentive for them to make a move until they absolutely, their hand is forced. They have a sweet gig right now. There's they see no benefits for them to join a league.
Right. All right, need to take a break. You want to be a part of it, 402-413-2400 with a call or a text. More Sports Nightly coming up.
Shop Woodhouse Chevy Buick in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and experience the Woodhouse difference, where our sales staff is here, ready to help you find your perfect new car, truck, or SUV. And with over 100 new vehicles on our lot with more arriving daily, we're sure to have something for you. From the Buick Encore to our heavy-duty trucks, we have the best selection available. Find new roads and shop all of our inventory and offers at WoodhouseChevy.com or visit us at our dealership for a test drive today, making car buying easier. This is Woodhouse.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom! Wow!
You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first. With 3 convenient locations, we offer a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Our no-pressure sales team is eager to help you find the perfect vehicle. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at woodhouseford.com. Choose your experience and start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Husker fans, the 2021 athletic season marks the beginning of mobile tickets for Husker sporting events. Tickets and parking passes for all sports will be available for download in your ticket account on the official Huskers app. It's a safe and easy way to guarantee your entry into some of the most exciting sporting events around. Simply download your ticket from your ticket account or the Huskers app and save to your mobile phone wallet before you leave home. Scan at the gate and enjoy the game. Go Big Red!
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer. Buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you on a Thursday night. Thanks again to Scott Docterman for stepping away from dinner in Indianapolis and giving us a little insight of what took place there today. And his read, Jessica, on Kevin Warren was pretty much exactly like ours.
Yeah.
He didn't rise up to the moment.
Yeah, did not deliver when he had a big opportunity
Yes, he
to.
did.
And, you know, like you said, because the way that it all unfolded with the pandemic, he hadn't really been in front of the media, and it was kind of Zooms, which we've talked about is hard to really, get a fill or, deliver a message on Zooms. And so this was his big moment. And like we talked about last night, you knew what questions you were going to get asked.
You knew the playoff expansion was definitely coming, and you knew Oklahoma, Texas
and you
was.
knew the COVID protocol question was going to be asked. You knew what was going to be asked.
Right.
Now, the Oklahoma and Texas thing broke last minute, and you don't know, and you're still figuring that out. You might not want to show all your cards there, but there are questions that you knew you were going to be posed.
Right. Carla on our text line said, it sounds like Kevin Warren has handed Barry Alvarez his main agenda item. He's going to be his front man. I think you're right, Carla. He mentioned Barry a couple of different times during that speech today. She said, I was hopeful that Warren would be better prepared and present a much better initial showing, particularly at his first Big Ten Media Days. Very disappointing appearance, but not surprising. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a good time to not have a good leader.
And another thing we kind of talked about, too, is that he was going to have 45 minutes of availability and had a big, long speech to where there wasn't a lot of time to answer questions in the press conference either, which, is probably a little bit strategic, but, there wasn't a lot of time to press a lot of those issues either.
It is already Friday in Tokyo, which means they're just a few hours away from the opening ceremonies happening. How bizarre, how odd do you think this is going to look?
I know, because a a lot of times you're walking out into like a stadium full of people. You're waving. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, is the march happening?
I think they're letting just a handful of athletes represent each country.
Okay.
So instead of the massive block of U.S. athletes or Russian athletes, you're going to have just a couple, a flag and a couple of them.
So it'll probably move a little bit quicker.
It'll go quick. Yeah. It just won't have the same spirit, and breaks my heart because I love the opening night with all the pyrotechnics and all those things. It's just not going to be that way, is it?
Yeah, what a man. I mean, I guess at least it's happening, and we've already had some competitions, which has been fun.
There's
to watch.
rowing on tonight. You can go home and watch rowing.
And, watching the softball games over the last couple of days has been fun, despite we don't like the field, but that's all right. At least we're watching it. But, yeah, I mean, at least it's happening, and that seems to be the take when we had, Jordan Larson on a few weeks ago. At least it's happening. They're grateful and happy that they do get to participate, even if it isn't an ideal setup or situation with fans. That they're still getting to participate.
NBC will start their coverage of the opening ceremonies tomorrow night at 6:30. They will have well been done by then because of the time. The time difference hurts.
I think it's
really
like
tough.
7:30 in the morning here.
They are 14 hours ahead of us, so it's already 9:45 in the morning there.
So you can watch it, right? Like 7:30 live. Wait,
Can you?
I think I heard that.
Well,
you can maybe watch a stream of it.
NBC's replaying it tomorrow night. Maybe NBC Sports Channel is going to carry it live. I don't know.
Or like on their stream online or something. I don't know.
I won't probably do that. I'll probably just wait and whatever's on tomorrow night, watch it.
So you'll have to avoid like all the spoilers
Yeah.
on Twitter all day.
Yeah.
Like people saying how bad it is or how good it is. Or
Right. Kind of like the movie Space Jam. I'm hearing it's not very good.
Yeah, that's kind of disappointing.
It is disappointing.
Because I loved the first one.
First one was classic. So somebody said, Michael beat LeBron again. Jordan wins again. Because Michael was a part of the first Space Jam. So Michael's was better than LeBron's. So
I'm not counting it out till I see it. I'm going to go see it for myself. But we had the McGowans in studio the other day. We didn't ask about it on air, but they both got to see it. And both Trey liked it, but said that he fell asleep during it. So I don't know if that means that it wasn't as entertaining. But he also said he was exhausted. And then Bryce said he definitely did not like it as much as the first one. But it was cool that they allowed for the basketball team to go see an advanced screening of that. That's awesome.
absolutely. Another text coming in. You guys act surprised that Warren didn't have anything insightful. He hasn't had an informative thought in his tenure. He's a mouthpiece for the presidents and chancellors, not a leader for athletics. I wish he'd watch every move that Greg Sankey makes and replicate it. Sankey was good. Sankey set the tone earlier this week with what he did. He was a really effective speech, and you knew he gave that knowing that this Oklahoma-Texas thing was out there, but he never revealed a card on that on Monday.
That dude is making some power moves to try to be in charge. He was very vocal about how much he dislikes Mark Emmert. And, wants changes to the NCAA, and he wants to be the one that's making those changes. And he made it, to me, especially now, hindsight, looking back, and knowing what we know now, he was making a case he wants to be the leader, the guy in charge of where this thing moves forward.
He wants to be the guy pulling the train of college football.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm told, just more and more texts coming. I'm getting the feeling Husker fans are just not very happy with Kevin Warren.
What?
Are you getting that feeling?
You think?
I was on the Illinois network flagship today, and they were asking me about the Texas-Oklahoma story, and I said there are a lot of smiles in Nebraska today because Nebraska, this is one of the bigger reasons they left 11 years ago. They just felt like there was too much drama always around, particularly Texas. And they're just Nebraskans are so happy they're not dealing with this drama right now.
You're in a stable league that, look at the Big 12, is completely unstable right now.
Right.
No notion, no any kind of direction whatsoever that we know where this is headed. And the thing is, even if they patch it up for now, in the next go-around, the Big 12 is going to be the first to crumble again.
Right.
I mean, it's just inevitable that, even if they fix it again, like they did a few years ago, and find a way to patch it up with a TV deal for 5 more years, when this conversation happens again, the Big 12 will be the first. So I was thinking about this earlier. If Oklahoma and Texas leave and they bring in, like we talked about, Cincinnati, UCF, US, are they still a Power 5 conference? Would they still be considered Power 5?
If they were to get the Arizona schools, I think, you still would be that, right? I mean, you'd add 2 Power 5 teams if you could do that. I think they would be borderline. Paul Feinbaum today, take that for what it's worth, said absolutely not. They would not have a seat at the table.
Paul Feinbaum's not well liked around here either, huh?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think people really pay a lot of attention to him. Really.
I don't know if Paul Feinbaum's liked anywhere outside of the SEC.
Well, he's just totally right, and that's where that's his thing. And his radio show. If you listen to that thing's hard to listen to.
Yeah. Whew. I mean, I've tried, but
really hard to listen to.
Another thing I was going to say about the commissioner, and we talked a little bit about how they last year in the COVID year it was about the student athletes and taking care of the student athletes. But being an outsider looking in a year ago, it seemed like the student athletes were not happy with how it was handled, and that they weren't being considered in this deal. That it was not their stance of how the season was played out, and they weren't being heard. So I don't know how that, that was their best interest, but was it? I don't know.
Well, you had the parents of a handful of Husker players took the league to court, made them reveal some of their documents and some of their meetings that they had, made them show their cards a little bit about what was going on. Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback, was very vocal about that whole thing. So, yeah, you sit there on one hand, you try to say it's all about the student athletes, but really, were you looking out for them 12 months ago? It's a very fair question that the league doesn't want to touch or answer.
But then also, so then you let them play, but how prepared were they for that season, which we've talked about with Adrian Martinez? So you're looking out for their best interest, but then, they wanted to play. They were very vocal that they wanted to play, but then once you did finally make the decision to play, how prepared were they? How set up were they? Because they didn't have, a regular preseason, offseason. There was no kind of direction as to where the season was going. They couldn't really be prepared for that.
On another text line, Texas came into the Big 8, managed to screw up that league. Can't wait to see what damage they do to the SEC. There you go. All right, need to take a break. Get our final break into the night. Still time if you want to be a part of it with a call or a text, 402-413-2400. More of the show coming up.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the 4th time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Touchdown, Nebraska!
If you're doing business in Nebraska, the best way to connect your organization with the excitement surrounding the Huskers is through a partnership with Nebraska Athletics.
Kaboom! Wow!
You can take your business to the next level by reaching loyal Husker fans through in-venue signage, radio advertising, digital and social media, and more.
Got it!
Join the Husker team today and email partners@huskers.com to learn more about opportunities to connect with Husker Nation. That's partners@huskers.com.
Back to adventures in technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is dangling from a mountain of open IT tickets, ready to plunge into the abyss of overtime. But wait! It's Marco's Managed IT to the rescue with a lifeline of 24/7 network and user support. Our IT hero is saved! A quick selfie with Marco's Managed IT team, and our hero is back to work. For more successful Managed IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
Nebraska Athletics are hiring event staff for the 2021 home football season. Our #1 requirement, be passionate about Husker football and ready to provide the ultimate fan experience for the greatest fans in college football. As part of the event staff, you serve Husker Nation and check out live game action inside Memorial Stadium. Apply right now and help kick off the Husker football season by working the Garth Brooks concert. For more information and to apply, visit huskers.com/event staff. Go Big Red.
Our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Final few minutes of our program here on a Thursday night, day one of Big Ten Media Days in the books, day 2 tomorrow. I know you and I both kind of soaked up a bunch of the coverage today. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like a conference hater because I was really impressed with the production that was on display, and even just the small details of the backdrop that changed colors and had the logos of the different schools. And man, the Big Ten Network is legit.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a network that every conference strives. Even the SEC, when they created that network, the SEC network, they were striving to be like the Big Ten Network. They were behind in that area. So the way that the presentation on the Big Ten Network channel was impressive. The little details being on the field, all that kind of stuff I thought was really impressive.
A lot different look because normally it's been in a ballroom in Chicago. So this was a different look.
This is where the championship game's going to be played. That's awesome.
My guess is, though, it goes back to Chicago next year. That's my guess, but we'll see if that happens. 7 done today, 7 more tomorrow. Obviously, Ohio State will be center stage. Ryan Day. They lost a lot of talent. Justin Fields will be hard to replace. They've got some really good players in line to take his spot. They are clearly the favorites to win the league again this year. Iowa will be there tomorrow. Wisconsin will be there tomorrow. So it's a couple of the heavies from the West will be there tomorrow. Coverage begins about 10 o'clock again.
I'll be tuned in again.
Yeah. And I thought the Huskers did well. I thought Scott did a really nice job as we opened the show talking about that. I thought Austin Allen does a really good job. I was happy for Ben Stilley to get a chance to go on that platform and go be interviewed by all those different people. And Deontay Williams, a little bit shy, but I think it was good for him to go kind of push himself a little bit.
And he talked about, building your brand and being set up and how Nebraska has helped with that. That's a big stage to get to do that as well, to go, be in front of the media. And it's a huge platform to be able to, be presented on. And so, yeah. And I thought the fashion was, Nebraska
all three looked good, didn't they?
Really nice.
Yeah.
And Scott Frost as well. I love that tie. And yeah, so I mean, and they talked a lot about that. We're seeing video of it right now, just the fashion of it. And I thought that was really impressive as well. All of the athletes that were there today, how they really decked out and were looked really nice today.
Yeah. It's a shot of Trev Alberts walking by in their post-production there. Hey, buckle up, put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. That'll put a cap on our show tonight. Thanks to Jessica, to Mike, to Andrew, and to all of you. Tomorrow night, we'll continue our position breakdowns with a look at the Huskers inside linebackers. Barrett Root will join us tomorrow.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Ford. Take advantage of our current offers and vast inventory selection with features you want at a smart price. Schedule a test drive today or shop online with our streamlined sales process. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at woodhouseford.com. Choose your experience and find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hy-vee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is caught in the jagged jaws of ransomware attacks and phishing scams.
Help!
Wait! It's Marco's Network Security Solutions to the rescue with life-saving ways to detect hungry cybervillains and stop them cold in their tracks. With Marco's Network Security Solutions, our IT hero lives to surf another day. For more successful network security adventures, go to marconet.com.
Mark your calendars. Nebraska Football Fan Day is back, and we can't wait to welcome you to Memorial Stadium. Fans can meet the 2021 Husker football team next Thursday, July 29th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Football Fan Day is the best opportunity for fans to meet and greet Husker players, coaches, and staff as they gear up for the start of another exciting season. For full event details, including health and safety guidelines, entrances, parking, and autograph policies, visit huskers.com/football.